Well, that was another winnable game for San Diego State that they lose. They drop to 3-6 thanks to this loss, 32-24 at Snapdragon tonight. Utah State in overtime. The two teams battled. San Diego State, when I think about this game and look back on this game, obviously it just ended. Jalen Maiden, by the way, just the interception that he threw at the end there, whatever. I mean, you have to throw it to someone. It's fourth down. I'm not going to complain too much about that. But it's earlier in the game. Jack Browning misses a field goal. And then Brady Hoke and San Diego State, Ryan Lindley, they decide to be aggressive, which most of the time I would like San Diego State to be aggressive. But in the situation, I mean, they were in field goal range the first time that Browning had the fake. And they might say, well, Browning missed the field goal, so it wasn't a guarantee that he was going to make it. And that's fair, but he's going to miss back-to-back field goals. And the field goal would not have been that long. It's not like it would have been a 50-yard field goal or anything like that. They go for it, and then he runs up the middle. Like, that doesn't make sense. Then they do it again, and it doesn't work. Later in the game, that one wasn't like it wasn't a spot where they could get 3 points on the board in, fourth down, field goal, try to really, mess with them. I don't believe. But obviously, Jack Browning has to be better. He'll probably say that. Has to make the field goal. And then when your team is not known to score a ton of points, sure, they scored 24 points, but remember, it went to overtime, so that helped them score more points. It gave them more opportunities to score. When you're San Diego State and you're not going to score a ton of points, get as many points as you can. When you have an opportunity to get a field goal, you get 3 points on the board, go get the 3 points on the board. At least try to go get that field goal. I know, again, Browning missed the field goal previously, but you try to go get those 3 points. And they didn't do that. There were some long plays that they allowed, breakthrough rushes from Utah State. Now, I will say, I'm not just going to tear into Jalen Maiden and San Diego State, all video here. There was some good things. Late in the game, they had to go score to push it to overtime, and they did do that. But even then, when I was thinking about when they were scoring, it's like, well, I mean, they should have. This should be to go win the game here. They shouldn't be in this spot right now if they would have done some things better earlier on in the game. So yeah, in my opinion, they deserve to lose this game. But Jay made some good throws to Mekhi Shaw, and then Keenan Christian had a pretty good game as well. He didn't rush for a lot of yards or anything like that, but Jalen Maiden passed for 265 yards. That's not what we're used to seeing from Jalen Maiden. Sometimes, well, obviously the Nevada game was terrible. Sometimes he's throwing for less than 200 yards. Sometimes he's throwing for 50 to 100 yards. So that was better tonight. And so, yeah, I can compliment San Diego State, but there's just not a whole lot to speak glowingly about this program right now when they're 3-6, they're 1-4 in conference. A game that they should have won, they lose here. It was another night where there wasn't a ton of people there, despite it being homecoming. But there shouldn't be a ton of people there. Like, why should people spend their hard-earned money to go watch San Diego State football right now? When basketball's starting on Monday night, that arena is going to be sold out. It already is sold out. Viejas Arena. It's going to be sold out probably for a lot of games this upcoming season. Why go spend your money on the football program when it's 3-6, 3-5 entering today? Just got shut out by Nevada a couple weeks back. Why go see that program when you could go see the basketball program, coming off of a national championship appearance and Final Four win, right? Deep into the tournament, So Brady Hoke, I'm not thinking that he's going to go anywhere. So anyone that wants Brady Hoke fired, I mean, go look at his contract. The buyout is pretty expensive, and San Diego State is not Alabama, where it's just a drop in the hat. I think things need to change, and whoever's going to be the quarterback next year, Jalen Maiden is a senior, so whoever's going to be the quarterback next year, I hope that it's obviously better than what it is right now, and hopefully the offense will be better. Because, San Diego State, they're probably not going to be in a bowl game this year, and if they are, it's probably going to be in some Hawaii Bowl that it seems like they always play in. Because they're just not a good team. They're not a good team this year. What is Can you name a good win on their schedule this year? They beat Hawaii. They started out the year 2-0, but those weren't Mountain West opponents. That wasn't Oregon State or UCLA, right? Boise State, Air Force. No. So it's been a tough year for sure. And this is another one where it stings because they could have won. Utah State had their backup quarterback in there, and he looked good. I'm not saying that, this guy stunk or anything like that, but there were some times where, you go to overtime and you go score. By the way, the touchdown that San Diego State scored, I'm not going to praise Jalen Maine a ton on that. I'm not going to praise the offense a ton on that. Like, the Utah State corner that was covering, he went and tried to go cover another receiver, and that left the wideout wide open for Maiden to make an easy pass. So, like, again, it wasn't like a super impressive touchdown there, in my opinion. And then they go and let Utah State just go score again. And obviously, Utah State had the height there with the 2-point conversion. Again, I just go back to earlier in the game. It should not have been like this because San Diego State should have had the lead in a lot of spots. Um, Instead of being down. If they would have made a field goal, they would have been up 10-3 at the half instead of up 7-3, right? They wouldn't have been down what they were down 10-7. It would have been tie game at the end of the third quarter there. So there would have been a spot where if they would have outscored Utah State, they could have won that game in regulation instead of having to go into double overtime in terms of drives, right? Because that's how it works in college football. Instead of having to go in overtime and then you end up losing because you have all the pressure on you because Utah State gets a touchdown and they get the 2-point conversion, and then it's fourth down and you have to make a throw. Again, I'm not going to get on Maiden for that. Like, I understand fourth down, you have to make the throw. But yeah, for me, it was another disappointing performance from this Aztecs team. And bottom line, they lost when they need to get wins, even if they want to get a bowl game. And that's just, I don't see that happening this year. Mathematically, can that even happen this year? How many more games do they have this year? Utah State here, obviously they lose 32-24. They have 3 games left. Yeah, so they're 3-6. If they win out, they'd be 6-6, which I think they need. It's 6 wins, right? 6 or 7 wins to be bowl eligible. So are they going to beat Colorado State at Colorado State? Are they going to beat San Jose State at San Jose State? Are they going to beat Fresno State at home? I don't think that they're going to win the next 3 games that they have here. They could, but this was if they would have won today, I would be more encouraged about their upcoming slate here to try to finish off the season strong, sort of. But, this was another game that they wasted an opportunity to get a win and get closer back to 500. And so if they win out, it's going to be a 500 season. And it's going to be another disappointing season, which will be the second probably disappointing season. I think a lot of fans would say last year was disappointing, underwhelming, especially coming into a new stadium. This is going to be the second disappointing season for Aztecs football inside Snapdragon Stadium. And I'll say it again. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Right now, whose stadium really is it? It's San Diego Wave Stadium. And they have a playoff game tomorrow. I believe there's standing room only tickets still available on San Diego Wave's website. You can go on their social media as well. $10 tickets there. The seats are already sold out. Over 32,000 are going to pack that place, which hasn't happened at Snapdragon Stadium this year. So it's the Wave Stadium. They're the playoff team. They're the best team in the NWSL. And San Diego State is one of the worst teams in the Mountain West.